Hey everybody, welcome back. We are the Ace Football Academy. This is your Friday footy talk for July the 18th. Coach,
You had to think about that, didn't you?
yeah, I did. Well, I had to check my date, my calendar. It's summertime. I don't know what
We don't
day
know
or
what's
what.
happening
I know
anymore.
nothing.
We do not.
Coach, listen, we spent a couple weeks doing some hard and heavy content with the coach behavior and player behavior. And then last week we had a lot of fun doing our men's national team top 5 all-time players. So it only makes sense that we dive into our top 5 women's national team players. Full disclosure, you and I gave each other a little bit of time to do some research on our men's national team players. We did our women's national team in about 15 minutes. We were sitting here really, hey, let's just do it.
And the thing is, there are so many women's players
Okay.
that have made a name for themselves.
Okay, so that's my question. Would you argue that in the history of U.S. soccer, there are more household women's names than there are male names?
That's without a doubt.
How,
We have created.
household, yeah.
I don't know that we can say we've created. Well, maybe we could. We've created more. I guess created is not the right word. We've developed more world-class women's athletes, women's soccer players than the men's. And I mean, thinking about it, it's been decades. And decades ago, we had more world-class players on the women's side. Now, granted, in America, I think we are more known to push women into sports early in their lives, much more than obviously like Africa and the Middle East and those type of areas. But European nations have always had those leagues, but I think we develop athletes in this country. And that's the main reason why we have so many women at a higher level than the men.
No, I agree with that. And you and I have argued this point before in previous podcasts where, like, I don't think it's any secret that there are some other countries that are slowly or rapidly catching up to us, and in the Switzerlands and the New Zealands and the Canadas, right? They're slowly catching up to us on the women's side. But I think you're correct in when it comes to women's sports in general, but also women's soccer, we are, maybe not are, but we were light years ahead for a long time. And so that brings us to our list of the top 5 women's national team players of all time. Again, we are talking national team. We didn't break down any rules or regulations for how we wanted to do that, but that was just the topic, top 5 women's national team players of all time. We'll do it the same way, Coach. I think we both have a couple honorable mentions that we want to mention, and then we won't give anything away. So if Coach Dunham mentions his honorable mention is in my top 5, I won't give anything away. I will circle back to it, and vice versa. If I mention someone who is in Coach Dunham's top 5, he won't mention it. He'll just circle back to it and little banter back and forth. So,
And by the way, I have no idea what your list
yeah, I agreed.
is
Yeah,
because we
this
have
is what
kept
makes
the
this fun.
secret.
Yeah, we have
We
no
are
idea.
learning along with your audience. So,
Yeah.
Coach,
So who's your?
I'm going to go first.
Yeah, give me your first.
And we're going to start with our honorable mentions.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to give both of mine, and
Okay.
I'll hear both of yours. Both of my honorable mentions are both defenders.
Ooh, okay.
For years, Coach, I have told you my love
I know.
for Becky Sauerbrunn.
Yeah, you have. And
She has just been the quintessential defender, captain, player, icon for the women's national team during that, 2012 through 2000, I guess really 19 golden era of women's soccer, 219 caps. She was also a 4-time NWSL Defender of the Year player. Just legendary. And I told you this multiple times. I thought Becky Sauerbrunn was probably the best player while she played. And there's a lot of big-time players that she played alongside.
Well, and I remember when she got hurt leading up to that last tournament. I remember how, not crushed or anything like that. But I just remember your disappointment thinking, ah, crap, this is how her career is going to end. She's not going to be able to go out on her own terms. She's going to have to go out with this injury.
My second honorable mention, another defender, rising star Naomi Girma. 24 years old, plays for San Diego Wave. She is already, and you could say she's been with the national team, 4 years?
Probably.
Maybe a little bit more, maybe 5, somewhere around there. Already being listed as one of the best center backs in the world. Calm. She reminds me of Becky Sauerbrunn. She just has the perfect positioning. She knows where to be. You never see her get flustered or frustrated on the field. I'm not sure there's inner dialogue in her brain that has that, but externally she's not giving that away. She was the 2022 rookie and defender of the year. Coach, I just love these two defenders, and I hate that I couldn't find them a place in my top 5, especially Becca Sauerbrunn, knowing how much I love watching her play. But my 2 honorable mentions are both defenders, and I love that I've gotten them there.
All right. With the Naomi Girma side of things, she's not in my list at all. And my older sister will murder me for that, but because she's a big Naomi Girma fan. And I think if we have this conversation in 4 years, not only is Naomi Girma in our top 5, she has potential to be in our top 3 if she continues to do what the trajectory she's on. So I love both of those. Coach, I went a different way.
Hit me. What you got?
My first, I'm interested to see how you feel about this player, and this is the one player that I think might be in your top 5 that I'm going to mention in my honorable mention, but it is Megan Rapinoe. She is arguably in the last 20 years, the most iconic player in women's national team history. Ballon d'Or winner and FIFA Best in 2019. What she did for the U.S., or not the U.S., but just for women's soccer in general off the field with the equal pay and all that push, I think was really incredible. I do think she is, if my question was who is the most influential player, if our question was who is the most iconic player, then I think Megan Rapinoe is number 1. But for me, in the best player, she makes honorable mention. My other player is Christine Lilly.
Okay.
4 decades of U.S. soccer. Her first cap was in 1987. Her last cap was in 2010. 4 decades of U.S. soccer. She is the most capped player on both the men's or women's side of U.S. soccer. She's 4th all time in women's national team goals. And so I just felt like it was a crime to not mention Christine Lilly in our podcast this evening.
All I'm going to say is I love that you have them in your list. This is about legends.
Yeah.
And when I think of Megan Rapinoe, every time I think of that left-footed cross against Brazil, where Abby Wambach slammed that header in their face to win that game in overtime.
Yeah. I don't think it wins it draws it, right? It sends us into PKs.
Sends us into PKs. You're right.
That's
the first thing I think about when I think of Megan Rapinoe.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's just a legend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Christine Lilly, one of those original 11 starters that kind of really got women's soccer going in the U.S.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Coach, I like that you brought those up because, funny enough, my number 5, Megan Rapinoe.
All right.
Just like you said, Ballon d'Or winner. How do you not have that in your list? Regardless of where she's at, she has made a name for herself because she is just an elite world-class player. She's a playmaker. How many clutch moments does Rapinoe have?
And that's the thing, right? You're going to spit out a bunch of stats for us, I'm sure, that puts her in your top 5. But it's those clutch moments, like the cross to Abby Wambach, that doesn't necessarily... I guess that goes down as an assist, but those are the type of moments that don't go on to the stat sheet that Megan Rapinoe was a part of for a long time.
So 203 caps, 63 goals, but 73 assists, which at this very moment is 4th all-time in U.S. women's national team history. Very outspoken advocate with social justice, LGBTQ, equal pay was a massive one that her and Alex Morgan teamed up to really fight U.S. soccer to get. And really, it was at a time where the women's national team was just outplaying the men.
Yeah.
Year after year after year. More successes, more silverware.
And some would argue they still are.
And that's a very good point, Coach. So, Megan Rapinoe, my number 5. Coach, where you at on your number 5?
All right, my number 5 may be a little controversial with the way her time with the U.S. Women's National Team ended, but mine is Hope Solo. Gonna give a little goalkeeper love here. If you go to the U.S. Women's National Team and you search goalkeeper records, almost all of them have Solo next to the name, right? She, appearances, starts, wins, shutouts, longest undefeated streak. She is the owner of all of those records. And 2-time World Cup, not FIFA, not but World Cup Golden Glove winner. So I just think for me, it's hard to keep a keeper like that off of your top 5 list. So Hope Solo is my number 5. I know the way it ended for her, and then some off-field issues have maybe tainted her legacy a little bit. But I don't think you can, when you look at what she did for the national team on the pitch, I don't think you can ignore that.
I love that you have this because you and I are on the same page. We're not looking at their personal life.
Correct.
We watched the current women's national team. They've got some locker room drama or off the field issues of themselves, but that's not what this is about. This is about on-field performance, their cultural impact of women's soccer in America and around the world. And Coach, Hope Solo, I remember watching her.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most athletic players to ever play
absolutely
on the national team.
Yeah, and it was also that first name that, not first name, I shouldn't say that, but it was also one of those names that young girls, young females, young female soccer players started talking about.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to get into some other high quality names, but that is one of the first names that I remember my players and my sisters and my classmates talking about was Hope Solo.
Love it, Coach. Let's move on to my number 4. I got Christine Lilly.
Oh, okay. I love this.
The most caps in U.S. soccer history. 354.
4 decades, man.
That's like the Cal Ripken Iron Man type of situation.
What a great comparison. That's what
is. And I think that's why we have her on here. It's the longevity. Not many players can go into 40 years old and continue playing at an elite world-class level. You've got Cristiano Ronaldo that's still fighting to do it. You've got, other sports had that situation. Tom Brady in the NFL. It's so rare to see a player go that far into their career, just like you said, 4 decades of playing soccer for the national team. Played in 5 World Cups. Things you've already mentioned. She's versatile, consistent, intelligent. I can't say that she's the greatest player to ever play the game, but neither was Cal Ripken. It's the fact that he maintained a level of play for that long, and just like Christine Lilly, maintained a level of play for almost 4 decades, and that's why I've got her at number 4, Coach.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm listening, but I was trying to look up how old she was when her first cap. I can't find it right off the bat, and I don't want to spend a lot of time off looking up, but made her debut in 1985 or 1987. She was still attending high school, so that's what I know. Okay. So you can kind of put it together, 16, 17, 18 years old. But yeah, what a great, I love that she made your top 5. I think that's really cool.
All right, Coach, hit me with the number 4 here.
My number 4, and this is where I think we might get to a little different because
Am I not going to like this?
I think I'm ranking her lower than a lot of people would.
Okay.
My number 4 is Carly Lloyd. I think she is, in the past 10 years, 15 years maybe. She's been the face of U.S. women's soccer. And, of course, her hat trick versus Japan. I'm going to tell a real quick story. So,
Yeah.
my, I've talked about my dad a lot on this podcast, and dad is slowly coming around to soccer. He went to the FC Cincinnati match with us the other night. He had a great time. He's slowly coming around, but he always, when I would talk to him about soccer, he'd be like, oh, "Did it end in a tie? How many goals? They win 1-0 or whatever." But that World Cup final against Japan, we were at the beach. We were hanging out, and I've talked all morning about, oh, we got to be at the bar to watch the World Cup final against Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And Dad goes, "You know what? I'll play. So I will take a shot for every goal that is scored."
This is a Japan game.
Yes, and so
That's
Carly
hilarious.
Lloyd responds
That is hilarious.
with a first half hat trick, including a goal from
midfield.
Midfield. And I just remember doing shots after shot after shot, and just like, we still joke about that in my family. It's still a running joke in my family. And so Carly Lloyd, of course, wins the Golden Boot 2015 as well. Of course, when you score 9,000 goals in the final. But for me, Carly Lloyd has been the face of U.S. women's soccer for a long time. She was always solid. She was always dependable. And maybe I'm wrong here, and maybe you'll throw some things at me, but she just never had the stats, the quality that lends her into being higher up my rankings. And again, I know that's probably frowned upon by a lot of people, and I'm sure there are stats that prove me wrong. But for me, Carly Lloyd is my number 4. Mostly shout out to Dad because of that moment.
I think that's the great thing about us bringing up the women's national team. There are so many names to talk about. Coach, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to blow your mind right off the bat. I don't have Carly Lloyd in my list. And I'm not saying she's not deserving of being in this list. Maybe she's top 10 somewhere. But I agree, she has been that figure that's always been there. Not many injuries. Doesn't have the stats, but has always been that solid, consistent player on and off the field.
Agreed.
Never had any issues. She's not one of those controversial type of situations here. I don't know that I look at her in the same light as you do. And I'm not saying she needs the stats to get me there. I feel like she had 3 or 4 really good years of soccer, but it's not enough for me.
I agree
to put her in my top 5.
No, I can understand that completely.
I love that you have her on your list because she is deserving of being recognized.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So I love that, Coach. I'm going to move on to my number 3 here. I have got Hope Solo.
I'll put her at 3. Okay.
Coach,
I like it.
Hope Solo is the real deal.
Yeah, 1,000%.
We've just witnessed Alyssa Nair play.
Yeah.
Who should
also probably be mentioned.
Who is also fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, she doesn't hold a candle to Hope Solo. Hope Solo has, just like you said, the record in shutouts with 102. She has, I don't know if this is a record or not, but her career of goals against is .41, which is unbelievable.
Wow.
Olympic champion. She's been World Cup winners, Olympic Cup winner. She is undoubtedly looked at as one of the greatest goalkeepers of all time.
Of all time.
Not just U.S. Women's National Team history, all of world soccer. Her records in the World Cup with, 5 clean sheets, 2015. I remember, I don't know what game it was, but it was kind of like a Tim Howard moment where she just kept making save after save. And I'm watching this girl make these ridiculous dives, just getting that arm out there. And I'm like, how in the world? I have never seen a woman make that type of athletic ability saves. I mean, they're not just falling to your side and your hand out there. I mean, she's diving. her athleticism and her ability to make those saves, I think Hope Solo is the greatest goalkeeper that's ever played in U.S. history, including the men. I mean, she is that rock back there. And I know a lot of people don't like Hope Solo because she's very outspoken. She probably grinds some nerves a little bit. But on the field, she is the greatest goalkeeper I've ever watched as far as athleticism and abilities in U.S. soccer.
Well, and let's be honest, like that's the key, right? On the field. Again, I mentioned when I talked about her earlier as my number 5, she's like, unfortunately, she had some off-field issues towards the end of her career and then right at the end of her career, right? And so that just the soccer side of things gets tainted a little bit because people can't separate the play from personal life, right? But if you're just talking about play, everything you just said is 1,000% correct. Now, I do think we do. Maybe I'm wrong, and I don't want to give anything away, but I do think we need to give Alyssa Nair a shout out. I mean, have you ever seen a keeper who does what she does, and especially in penalty kick situations, but then also steps up and makes a PK?
Makes the PK.
Right?
Yeah,
like, you just don't see that very often anymore on the international side of things. So I will give Alyssa Nair a shout out, but I love that you have Hope Solo in your top 5 as well.
What you got for me, Coach?
All right, my number 3, and I know I'm going to get some pushback on this because I'm a homer. But my number 3 is Alex Morgan. Look, up until her retirement, she was the face of U.S. soccer for ultimately 13 years. She was the player that people bitched about. She was the player that people celebrated. She was the jersey that was bought. She was the person people blamed, right? And so she was the face of U.S. soccer for like 13 years. In the 2012 gold medal year, she had 28 goals and 21 assists. I mean, that's unheard of in an international year. She was the best 11 in the 2015 and 2019 World Cups. Again, I think that just stacks her into that moment. And then we've talked about some off-field things, but her and Megan Rapinoe led that stance for equal pay rights for women's soccer, and which you and I both agree with, and you and I both think should happen. And so maybe a little bit of a homer pick, but
well, let's be honest. You don't just like
Alex Morgan.
I love her. You love
her.
Kind of like my affinity for Becky Sauerbrunn.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I thought we both had that affinity for those.
Defended her, like, people would be like, how come Alex hasn't scored? I'm like, well, because Alex is playing a true 9. You all don't know the game. Let's watch the true 9. And so I do think, and again, we're going to get way off topic here, but I do think Alex Morgan might be the last true 9 that we see in international soccer.
Absolutely, Coach. I love that you picked her because, just like you said, she was that face, and she was one of those reasons that girls got glued
1,000%.
into watching women's soccer at that time. Yeah. Coach, I'm going to move on to my number 2. I have got Abby Wambach. I tell you what,
I am shocked that this is number 2. I thought we were going to be, honestly, I thought we were going to be the same. Or I thought we were going to be different, but now I'm thinking we're going to be the same.
We're already different. And I love the change in perspective.
Yeah, but go ahead.
184 international goals, most in U.S. women's history. At her retirement time, she's won a World Cup. She's won 2 Olympic golds. Just like some of the other players, she has stood up and been outspoken on certain social issues or rights and equality type of situations. Talk about a player who wasn't the great with the ball at her feet, but out of the air.
Ooh, boy.
No one could compare. I would love, and I wish I would have looked this up, how many goals she has scored with her head
versus her feet.
Compared to scoring with her feet.
Yeah.
And just like we said, the goal against Brazil, to tie the game up, taking it into overtime and into PKs was legendary. And
Well, sorry, I didn't mean
no,
to-
go ahead.
I will go ahead and tell you, Abby Wambach is also my number 2.
Okay.
So we'll just continue this discussion. Our second best player of all time for the U.S. Women's National Team. But that, we talk about how iconic that Landon Donovan goal is against.
Yeah. Oh, great point.
Yeah, against. Oh, good Lord, now I can't even think of who they're playing.
Algeria. There you go. Stay with me.
And then that goal that Abby Wambach, and again, you get a great cross from Megan Rapinoe in that moment. But there's not a lot of players in, soccer history, but especially U.S. soccer history, that can go up and put that ball in the back of the net in that moment. And she does it. And to equalize, and again, if you don't know what we're talking about, just Google Abby Wambach goal. And this is going to be the first thing that pops up. And it is at the death. It is at the death in this match. And they end up drawing, and then they end up winning in PKs, and they end up winning the World Cup. That goal in the semis is, again, that Landon Donovan goal is great. But for a goal that is iconic, that draws a game that leads to something incredible, that goal is unmatched.
So to throw some stats out there, I just looked it up. Abby Wambach, out of her 184 goals, 77 of those was with her head.
That's incredible.
That is 42% of her goals.
Incredible.
Almost half her goals out of the air with her head.
That's incredible.
All right, Coach, let's move on as we're running out of time. Our number 1, are we the same here?
We got to be the same.
It's Mia Hamm.
It's Mia Hamm.
We can go to all of our stats, which we will. Here's how I see Mia Hamm. When I think of basketball, I think of Michael Jordan.
Yep.
When I think of hockey, I think of Wayne Gretzky. When I think of women's soccer, I think of Mia Hamm.
Yep.
You can name off Abby Wambach, Christine Lilly, Carly Lloyd, whoever. Mia Hamm is the Pele of women's soccer.
Absolutely.
She is the reason we have the NWSL. She is the reason we watch women's soccer on TV. She's the reason why women's sports is such a major draw these days. It started with Mia Hamm. Throw away the stats. Throw away the World Cups. Throw away anything. Mia Hamm is what started all of that. What, back in 1991, 1990?
I think she played 90, yeah. So 91 was her first World Cup, right? Is that right?
That's correct.
You could not have been more correct. That is the answer. What she did for women's soccer on the field. We talked about what Alex Morgan and Megan Rapinoe and Carly Lloyd, we talked about what all those ladies did off the field, and we love that and we appreciate that, and that should be noted. But what Mia Hamm did for the sport of women's soccer here in the States on the field is incredible. And then you look at the stats, Coach, right? And I know you said, let's not look at the stats, let's just talk about what she did. Well, then you look at the stats.
Wow.
She scored 5 times in the 2000 Olympics. She scored 5 times in the 2003 World Cup. She scored 6 times in the 2004 Olympics, which also ended in the gold medal. Mm-hmm. She was the FIFA World Player of the Year. And I think in 2001 and 2002. 2001, 2002. But I also think we need to take just a split second. When we say FIFA Player of the Year, I think people need to understand what we're talking about here. It's not like you're the best player in the NFL. It's not like you're the best player in the NBA. It's not like you're the best player in the NWSL. You are literally the best player at your sport in the entire world. So think about your Messis, your Peles, your Ronaldos. Think about those players when you think of soccer. And that's what Mia Hamm was for back-to-back seasons.
No question. Coach, 158 international goals, 276 caps. She is currently the all-time assist leader for the U.S. national team with 144 assists. I mean, she has almost the same amount of assists as she does goals.
Yeah.
That's almost unheard of.
Yeah.
But as you've already said, her cultural impact on the game is unmatched. And I think that's why you and I agree. She is the number one. And hopefully every list that's ever made.
Yeah.
She is the reason women's soccer is a thing in the year 2025. Her name is still relevant. And I'm glad that she was a part of that game. But, Coach, Mia Hamm, number one, I think there's no doubt.
Absolutely. What a fun night. I know we went a little long, but we love doing things like this. If you have a top 5 you'd love to hear from us, please let us know. We are the ACE Football Academy. Coach Hamilton alongside Coach John. And as always, go kick some ace.